Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are excited about you being here, and we're excited about this evening's presentation by Tishana. How's everyone feeling? Great. I think you're all doing well. Does everyone hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great, great. Just want to make sure we're getting out there. Hopefully Cheryl is back at her computer and joining us, and Marcia, Darlene, good to see you. You all here. This evening, we're going to talk about self-care and the importance of caring for yourself during this journey of caregiving. It can be very challenging, it can be very stressful, but we want to make sure that you, as caregivers, um, are that you're taking care of yourself. And so we're happy to have with us this evening Tishana Young. Tishana is a lifestyle coach. She is a certified community health worker. She has a great passion for people. She has worked both with seniors and younger generations as a behavioralist. She is the author of Healing Path to True Authenticity, a guided journal. You can purchase that journal on Amazon. And I tell you, it's a wonderful, I myself have it. It's a wonderful journal that's going to help guide you through the process of caregiving and give you tips on how to really navigate and just express yourself. Sometimes just writing things down makes things a whole lot better. And digging into yourself to see how you're really feeling. And so I think she's going to do some of those exercises today. I'm excited to have her. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring Tishana on. Give us about 5 seconds.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Good evening. I'm fine, thank you.
Good, 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 good. Give me one moment. I'm gonna pull up the presentation here. I'm just gonna do a quick presentation and then we'll do a few journal prompts. If you are not comfortable talking about those journal prompts on this session, that's fine. You can definitely give me 1 second here. You can participate in the journal prompting and write down whatever, your feelings are. And then if you like to share what those feelings are or what your answers are to that journal prompt, you definitely can. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of self-care as a caregiver. And oh, okay, just skipped all the way to the end. Give me 1 second here, guys. All right. So with that beautiful introduction that I received from Kim, I would just like to say thank you so very much. As she highlighted, I am a certified community health worker as well as a self-care coach. And I do specialize in working with individuals who are caretakers or caregivers for individuals who have Alzheimer's, dementia, in the beginning stages, middle stages, end stages. One of the biggest things that I think that we should remember when we're taking care of others is that we still have to take care of ourselves. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not going to have the stamina to take care of anyone else. We're not going to have the mental know-how or the emotional know-how or stability to give that care to our loved ones. So this is one of my favorite quotes, which says, self-care is moving mountains for yourself like you would for someone else. What does that look like to you guys? What does moving a mountain for yourself look like?
To
Time.
me, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say making time for yourself, just like you schedule everything else. You
Mhm.
schedule your appointments for your loved one. Schedule something for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I heard someone else starting to say something.
This is Darlene. What I was going to say was it means like with the same amount of passion, I don't want to say passion, but with the same amount of discipline
Okay,
that you
that's a good one.
use, yeah, that you use, to take care of the person you're caring for, you need to make sure you use that same discipline in caring for yourself.
Exactly. You want to have the same compassion for yourself that you have for everybody else. Because if you don't, you're just going to get drained. And then at that point, it's going to be very hard to care for someone else. What does self-care mean to you before we get into the actual definition of it?
To me, self-care means taking care of my needs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well,
So,
I'm not really sure. I'm beginning to redefine it for myself.
you're,
Um,
I'm sorry, you said you're beginning to.
redefine what that means.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing. Self-care isn't going to stay the same throughout your life. It's going to
Okay,
change
I,
because
I
life is
think it
ever
is.
changing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
It's
you're fine.
dynamic. I think that some things that I didn't consider self-care are just very important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm just getting to specifics now, and particularly the spiritual piece of it. I just am really making my spiritual work a part of my self-care. And, before I would kind of leave it like, okay, I'll just say a couple of prayers, maybe doing meditation here and there. But now it's my focus, it's my affirmations, it's my mindfulness, it's my my connection with God. And that's just really important to make sure I take that time for that now. The physical part is fine with me. When an emotional part um is okay, but I just am now focusing on the spiritual now. I think it really provides a foundation for self-care for me.
It does. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Anyone else want to share? Okay, so if we look at the definition here, it says self-care is defined as any deliberate action you take for your overall well-being. That's mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And you just hit on all of those. And that's absolutely that I would say that's the foundation of self-care. Mental could be just so I picked this picture because I feel like she's embodying every single one of those in very simple ways. Mental self-care could be just taking a nap. Emotional self-care could be, just being somewhere to yourself alone with your own thoughts, taking a break from everything that's going on. Physical self-care again could be taking a nap, taking a walk or a hike out in wilderness, which is also considered a form of spiritual self-care as well. Because if we think about it and we look back, into our roots, where we came from, we were very connected to spirit through nature at one point in our lives, back, in our lineage. We've gotten so far away from it in this current world that we live in. So being able to connect with nature definitely helps you on a spiritual level as well. So let's look at why specifically I choose to what's the word I want to use? Why I specifically choose to work with people who are caregivers. One of the biggest things is that working with individuals who have Alzheimer's and dementia, caregiving for them is completely different than Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers. There's more unique challenges that you have. You have emotional strain, there's physical demands, communication difficulties, behavioral changes, social isolation, because you're caring for someone 24/7, especially if they're in your home. So it can be very hard to find time for yourself, to have time with family, to have social time with friends, loved ones. There's a financial strain. You also have caregiver fatigue and long-term planning, because there are things that you have to plan for throughout this process for your loved one. And that's a mental strain on you, especially if you're dealing with your loved one or taking care of your loved one in your home. When you look at Alzheimer's or dementia caregivers, it looks like their challenges are lack of time, physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, caregiver fatigue. Those are very general things that any caregiver can feel. But as I stated, Alzheimer's and dementia, there's a lot of other unique challenges to being that type of caregiver. And so what we have here is just a few census pieces on actually the study of the strain that is felt by caregivers when they're how they're affected, how their health is affected. And it shows here that just a simple task of getting in and out of bed, of course, is shared by all caregivers. But the biggest one that I see here is the dealing with incontinence, getting to and from the bathroom, feeding, bathing, showering, getting dressed. Those, from my standpoint, I used to work as a resident aide for individuals who had very severe dementia. Though these last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these last 5, I would say is what we spent most of our time doing, is caring for them and their daily needs. And that is it's strenuous mentally, emotionally, and physically, especially when you're doing it every day. Over here, it says 72% say their health has worsened since becoming a caregiver. 59% experience depression or anxiety. 32% miss their own doctor's appointments because of caregiving. 15% have been hospitalized for their own health since becoming a caregiver. It can be very strenuous when you are not taking care of yourself. These numbers are a result or a lack of, or due to a result of lack of self-care. So here it says, imagine trying to swim in the deep end without taking the time to learn how to swim, but also how to navigate deep water or to build strength and endurance. That's a lot to try and figure out. So you're just jumping into this deep water. You don't know anything about how to navigate or swim through deep water, let alone how to swim, period. That's basically what it's like when you're becoming a caregiver and you forget to, or you don't care for self. Neglecting self-care means diving into caregiving without the necessary resilience, the support, and coping mechanisms to navigate its complexities, because it is a very complex thing to do. It's a beautiful thing to do from your heart to care for someone, but it is still very complex. All right, so this is just some examples of what you could feel when it's time for self-care. You can feel overwhelmed, fatigued, irritated. You struggle with self-worth, trouble sleeping, lonely, you feel numb, you're lost. It's because you're overwhelmed. Your body is basically telling you like, hey, we need a rest. We need to slow down. We need to take a break, something. And when you don't, you're going to feel all of these. Has anyone felt any of these before?
I have.
You
Yeah.
have, was that
I
Cheryl?
felt,
I'm weighing in. I guess I'll just use a reaction.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm sorry. I couldn't tell who it was who was talking.
oh, it's me, Darlene, too.
Darlene, okay. So Darlene, you felt some of these
Oh,
before?
Yeah, I felt overwhelmed, fatigued, irritated, numb,
Mhm.
lonely. The trouble sleeping part, I don't know if that's, caregiving or menopause.
I get that. Yeah, I definitely get that.
Um, and then I guess there's definitely been some aspects of loss.
Hmm.
Because it seems like half of the people that's supposed to be helping you don't know what to do either.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like nobody knows what to do with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
It's like a limited amount of people.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like you just out here just kind of figuring it out on your
Hmm.
own.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Just like the previous slide that we just looked at. It's like jumping into deep water. You have no idea what you're going to deal with, what you're going to encounter until you're actually in it. When do you notice most of those? Is it on a continuous basis or does it kind of build up over time?
For me now, it's continuous.
It's continuous.
I think my cup is just completely dry that it just is going to take a minute to even partially fill it up. It's just, and I think for now, I'm probably a little bit more numb because it's just been dry for so long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's where we come in. We're here to help with all of that. That's the reason why we have the support group, and then again, learning how to navigate through this, being able to have that moment for yourself is completely important. All right. So here are a couple examples of what we can do um, to take care of ourselves. Taking time to exercise, eat well, and rest adequately can boost energy levels and strengthen the immune system. Engaging in activities that bring joy and relaxation, even if it's just sitting on the couch laughing at a comedy, just something that's going to relieve yourself, a cathartic release comes in letting go of all those deep emotions. So you could have all this resentment that's stored inside of you that a lot of times comes from taking care of a loved one, not because you don't like them, but because it's a heavy load to carry. And so sitting down and just laughing, that is very cathartic, or just sitting down and just crying, feeling your emotions, working through those emotions are very cathartic and they help. They help to relieve stress. They help to give you emotional resilience. And they help to boost your immune system when you are able to feel your emotions and actually go through them and move through them and express them, especially in a very deep way. When caregivers prioritize their own well-being, they are better equipped to provide quality care to their loved ones. Taking breaks and engaging in self-care activities can prevent caregiver resentment and foster healthier relationships with care recipients and other family members and friends. And then these are just some examples of self-care, things that you could do with your loved one um, throughout the day. So you can try to keep a routine, such as bathing, dressing, and eating at the same time each day. Um, Help your loved one write down to-do lists, appointments, and events in a notebook or calendar. Plan activities that the person enjoys and try to do that with them, especially if you enjoy it too. You can consider a system or reminders for helping those who must take medications regularly. Where dressing or bathing allow the person to do as much as possible. That does two things at one time. That relieves all the stress on yourself, but it also still helps your loved one have a sense of independence because they're still able to help out. And believe it or not, that also helps them with their resentment that they may be feeling because they feel it too. Whether or not they're able to express it, they're definitely able to feel it. A lot of the times when they express it, though, it comes out in anger towards the person that's caring for them. But they don't know how to say, I feel bad that you have to do this. So it comes out as anger and resentment and bitterness, when in reality, all it is that they just feel bad.
That's a good point. Because you don't often think about, that they're feeling the resentment. I know you, on a previous slide, you were talking about caregiving resentment.
Mhm.
And I understand too that they're also resenting the fact that they're losing some of their personal control and independence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They do. They feel it. They're just not able to express it the way that we're able to.
Now, I don't mean to Jack, but when I'm looking at your list,
Mhm.
it looks like this person with Alzheimer's is pretty advanced. Some of these things may not apply to people
Right.
who may be below your moderate stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
So you have to, with these are just examples, but you do have to gauge the stage that the individual is in, your loved one is in. If they're in the
Hmm.
beginning stages, they might be a little bit more independent. They can do a little bit more. They can walk on their own. They can maybe take a walk around the neighborhood on their own. Um,
Hmm.
uh, and then, of course, as it progresses, there's less and less and less that they're able to do on their own. But being able to look at what stage they're in and understand what stage they're in, you can apply things that you know would be helpful for them if they're able to do it on their own. All right. So the next one that we have here is boundaries. And I know that this sounds odd to have boundaries, to be able to say no, but really, when you think about it, boundaries aren't a rule for anyone else. It's really a rule for yourself. A boundary basically says, this is where my cutoff point is at. This is where I can no longer do X, Y, and Z. And you have to be able to stand firm on that, because people don't know what your boundary is, whether that's loved ones, friends, family, your loved one that you're taking care of. They don't know your boundary, but you do. So understanding where your own personal boundaries are as a caregiver is a really huge aspect. Um, and the biggest boundary for me, I would say, would be being able to say no, like this slide says. You could have 12 things that you have to do today before 9 p.m. And somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I need you to do this, 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 and this for me. Because we're already in the mode of caregiver, it's very easy for us to say, fine, I'll figure it out, I'll get it done. But that doesn't help anybody, because that's only overwhelming yourself. And that's going to cause you to get pushed to the edge even further. And then it could at that point explode for you, because you're already feeling stressed, you're already feeling burnt out, and you could lash out at that person. And then at that point, you're in contention with someone that you don't even mean to be in contention with. So being able to say no, you could say no flat out, or just say, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to do this. Is there someone else that can do it for you? Is, I would say, would be a great tool to have in your belt, so to speak, as a caregiver. Because that's not only letting people know where your limits are, but it's also saying, I can't do everything and I'm going to need help as well. And what you do, knowing where you need help is a great boundary as well. Because we try to take on the world. We try to act as if we're so strong that we don't need anything else. We don't need anybody else to help us out. And that's not true. Help is the best thing that you can have as a caregiver. Delegate whatever you can to somebody else. If it's driving your loved one to the park, just so that you can have some alone time to yourself, see if someone else can do that for you. Figure out where it is that you can delegate some of your tasks to someone else. That would ease up a lot of your stress and give you more energy to be able to do more things in a beneficial way for your loved one. What do you think are some tasks that you could delegate to someone else? No takers? Let's see what the chat is saying. Cheryl said it's cyclic. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the next slide. All right, overcoming barriers in self-care. What are some barriers you experience when it comes to self-care? And what I mean by barriers are what's stopping you from self-care?
Time.
Time. Time is definitely the biggest one.
Sometimes it's money.
Money,
Yeah.
finances. What do you think financially would stop you from taking care of yourself?
If you want to take, say, like join a gym or take classes, get massages, facials, all that costs money.
That's very true.
And if you don't have the resources,
Mm-hmm.
then that makes it difficult. I mean, if you maybe you have a friend or someone, like when I lived in another state, I had a friend who was a massage therapist, and she would sometimes, well, she lives in another state now, but she says if she were here or if she and I were in the same place, she just give me a massage every now and again at no charge, just to kind of help me. But unfortunately, she's one place, I'm another, so that
Gotcha.
doesn't work. But I often look at things and think about things like facials and
Mhm.
massages. One good thing, I'm old enough to have a silver sneakers membership.
Oh, there you go. There
There,
you go.
there is one facility here in town that, well, they every now and again they'll do something complimentary.
Mhm.
Right now they've got a little stretch thing they called me about, so I have to see if I can get that on my schedule. Um, but
It sounds nice.
and it is the idea of it's lovely. It's finding again the time
Yeah.
and someone to be here with my husband
Mhm.
while I'm away.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the barriers.
Yeah, the coverage, the extra coverage when you want to, take care of yourself. And,
That's
and, and, and financially, you're assuming a number of additional responsibilities. And so you may not have the resources like to do, maybe get your hair done or whatever,
mm-hmm.
ethically, or, with somebody else who doesn't have those responsibilities. Going out to dinner, it's just a lot. But yeah,
Yeah,
those
it
are some
can be a lot. I do have an alternate idea when it comes to the the barrier of finances when it comes to self-care, because there's a lot of things that you can do. And I know, massages sound amazing. Massages are great. I would love to be able to get a massage myself at least once a week. But there are other things that you can do that are free, that count as self-care and are just as relaxing. But that can be used as I would say, a filler until you're able to figure out how to do the more um, costly things for self-care, as far as, getting a massage or getting your hair done or, getting a facial. So there are a lot of different avenues and opportunities to do that as well. Let's see here. Whoops, went backwards. All right. So some reframing tips to reframe your mindset for self-care. I'm going to start with the don'ts because it's easy to think about the don'ts. Um, don't compare yourself with others or bottle up emotions or overcommit, which are some of the things, the last two are things that we talked about. But you comparing yourself with others, I would say would be the least important thing that you need to do during your journey as a caregiver. Because you're taking a path that not many people take or can even handle. I am in a Facebook group for caregivers. It is a safe place for them and a safe space for them to speak their heart and speak their mind. But one thing that I do notice within that community is a lot of people, um, they have very negative things to say about their journey compared to whoever else may be a non-caregiver. They compare themselves constantly in a negative way. That can take a toll on you because whether or not if you say it out loud or if you say it to yourself, your body is listening to you. That's energy that you're sending to your body. And when you send a negative energy to your body, it doesn't add positive energy or add more energy. It actually zaps it and takes it away. So it makes you even more tired and even more frustrated and even more just depleted. So being able to look at the silver lining in your situation actually will be helpful for you. And I know that sounds like some cliche, chinksy thing that everybody says, but really and truly, it's true. When you're able to speak life into yourself, you're adding to you, you're filling your cup, you're adding to your cup instead of taking it away. And that's one of the things that you want to do. That's one of the biggest things you want to do as a self-care um, regimen is to add to yourself, fill your own cup up. There's a saying of keep your cup filled and overflowed so that you only give from your overflow instead of giving from your cup directly. It's easier to give from your overflow, whatever is being caught on that plate underneath your teacup. So think about it in that way. Do whatever you can that's going to fill up your cup. So for the doing part, that would be like prioritizing yourself, practicing self-compassion and seeking support, which is what you guys are doing today. So this is a part of self-care as well, being a part of this support group. So you guys have already taken the first step. So commend yourselves. Pat yourself on the back.
Mm.
All right, so just a quick recap. As a as a caregiver for individuals who have Alzheimer's and dementia, your needs are unique. It's not going to be the same as a mother. It's not going to be the same as an auntie or someone who's taking care of someone else. Your needs are very unique to the situation that you're in. You want to avoid self-care. You want to understand that avoiding self-care can be very harmful.
So items on the record.
I'm sorry, someone said something.
It's good.
Oh, background noise. Okay, you want to make sure that you're setting boundaries.
I'm not saying we can put it.
Think of ways that you can remove self-care barriers. Like as I touched on before,
And I'll be here too.
think about
Okay.
options that you have for self-care that are free, that are available to you. Even if it's hard for you to find someone that's going to take your place, like if you want to go out, finding something to do within that space that you're already in that's going to fill you up, that's going to add to you. And then lastly, you just want to reframe your mindset about self-care. All right, and that is the end of the presentation. That's my information there if you want to take it down. And then what I'll do now is just go through a couple of prompts from the self-care journal that I authored. I'll give you guys, if you don't have the sheet that Kim sent printed out, that's fine. I'll give you a couple of minutes to get a pen and paper and we'll do a couple of prompts out of this journal. All right, are we ready? Do we have pen and paper?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And does anyone have the paper from the email that Kim sent out? Were they able to print it off?
Mm-hmm. Part of it.
Part of it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm looking at it now. I'm just gonna work from my computer.
Okay. Now, the sheet that she sent over, within the journal itself is a couple pages, because it's something that I felt would be something that you could do on a routine basis that helps you to just check in with yourself to make sure that you are taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for that page, it's called the Daily Self-Care Journal. And one of the first questions on there is, today I am grateful for. You can write down what you're grateful for. And if you would like to share, you can share as well. Today I am grateful for.
I'll share.
You'll share? Okay.
Today, I'm grateful for the fact that when I fell last week, I didn't break my ankle.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laughing because on Mother's Day, I fell. And I am very grateful that I did not break my ankle. I've broken my ankle at least 3 times now in my life. And I'm just so glad I didn't do that again. So I am right there with you, Darlene.
Mm-hmm. And I have one. I am thankful for a car that is reliable.
Okay. Yeah, that is very important. It is very important, Barbara. We're not in New York where we can just catch a bus or a train every 1 minute. Here you have to wait you have to wait forever
Mm-hmm.
or wait for someone to come and get you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to share?
Well, I'm grateful for the sun stopped raining today.
Oh, yes, yes. I was just telling my brother that yesterday. Like, I'm just getting annoyed by all this rain.
Mm-hmm.
It's May now. We're supposed to have beautiful, bright, sunny weather.
One thing that is I work with outreach ministries, and I am working on strategies to help the members on our team to de-stress in different ways because we're doing so many initiatives helping others in different ways. So that's one of my reasons for being a part of this. But one of my most favorite things is on a very hot day, um, to put on the hose and just go sit down either on the patio and just let it just spray all over me.
That sounds so
And
nice.
I mean alone. And it's one and the thing is I even bought a kiddie pool
That is
so that it
great.
can catch the water because I'm not a swimmer,
Okay.
and just to put my feet in there and just in a alone time like that I mean, it's wonderful. And on a rainy day when it's warm,
Mm-hmm.
just to be able to go out, and if you don't have a swimming pool, a suit, just put on, something shorts or whatever, and go out. Take an umbrella if you get tired of,
Yeah.
but I mean, those are moments in time that are so refreshing.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And that's
Don't cost
something
doesn't
simple. You
cost
don't have
anything.
to pay for that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
That's
that is
right.
a piece of self-care. It's doing
That's
something
right.
that brings you joy. That's all it
That's right.
is. Mhm.
That's right. And I'm going to tell you one more. I'm gathering these things as I go.
Okay.
But I just found out about YouTube and the house tours that you can go on.
I
What
love
I
those.
mean, I love them. And if you don't want to bother anybody, even in the household,
Yep.
you can look at them silently.
Silently.
And
Yes.
I mean, those are the most precious moments. So anyway, I'm passing this on to someone. And also another piece is the white light in the house. I
Mhm.
never knew until about a year ago that I am more relaxed in the bulbs that I use, not the yellowish bulbs, but
Yeah.
the white ones. And if you look at a lot of those tours, they have that white light
Yes.
in that.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm done.
No, you're absolutely fine. That was great. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so to your point about the light bulbs,
Yes.
I'm actually I'm in the process of moving for that very reason. Where I'm currently living, I'm renting an apartment and all the bulbs are very deep yellow, almost amber colored. It
Yes.
becomes very, very depressing.
Yes.
Dim and dark. I have to go
Yes.
throughout and change all the light bulbs, but it's still not the same
I
because the
know.
walls are even painted like a light yellowish orange. It's
No,
very,
yeah.
very
Yeah. Yeah. Lowe's carries them and they are daylight.
daylight bulbs. Yep. And
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons why they use those in hospitals because daylight light
Oh,
bulbs, they actually bring your energy up instead of suppressing it, and it helps you to heal better.
yes.
There's a
Didn't know
science
that.
behind the reason why they have those lights.
Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyone else have anything else to share? Okay. So we'll move on to the next one on that same page. Um, One of the things that I find really important is figuring out what your affirmation is going to be for the day. I do that in the morning before I even start my day, before I get out of bed. I figure out an affirmation.
Mm.
What would you say your affirmation for today is?
Mm.
You can take a moment to write that down now. And then if you feel you'd like to share, you can absolutely do so.
I think for me, an affirmation is all is well.
I like that. I like that. Why is that a good one for you?
Well, you know, to me, there are things that I can either fret over, lose a lot of sleep over, but it just kind of centers me for the day to say all is well. I also often say to myself and sometimes to others, there's nothing that's going to happen today that
Mhm.
God and I cannot handle because He will give
Absolutely.
me the strength that I need to do my part,
Mm.
Absolutely.
you know?
I love that. Because it basically is, it's letting you know, with that mindset and that mind frame, it's letting you know this is just a moment. It's not for
Right,
the rest of the day. It's not for the rest of the week. It's not for the rest of your life. It's
Mhm.
just in this moment right now.
right. And for those, I don't know if anyone, I'm currently taking a mindfulness course. My
Ooh.
husband is a
Mm.
veteran and I participate in their caregiver support group. And they currently have this class on mindfulness where you concentrate on the moment, not
Mm.
yesterday, not, 2, 3, 4 years into the future of
Mhm.
what could be, or
Yeah.
even a few days. Let's deal with where we are at this
At
moment.
this very moment,
Or,
That's
exactly.
right.
I've heard it phrased, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery,
Yes,
today is a gift.
it's a
That's
All
gift.
why it's called
right.
the
Exactly.
present.
All right. We need to write that down.
Yes. Go ahead, Marcia. Repeat that so they can write
Repeat it. Yes.
it down.
Yesterday is history.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is a
Mm-hmm.
mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Today is a gift.
Yes.
That's why it's called the present.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Yes. That is.
That is beautiful.
Yes.
Did
So
we all
mindfulness
get
is
that?
trying to teach us to concentrate on the present.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, we're going to do 2 more and then we'll be done. We have about 8 minutes left. Looks like in the chat we have a couple of things. Give me 1 second to get that pulled up.
Mhm.
Looks like, yes, Caregivers Oasis. It says you can receive your free self-care evaluation at caregiversoasis.org. That's in the chat if you want to write down that web address.
Mhm.
Oh, and they also said sometimes having friends over to your house helps in relieving stress. That's absolutely true. All right. So the last two, or this one before we end. What do you need more of? It's on that same sheet. If you don't have it, you could just write down the prompt. What do we need more of? All right. Do we have anybody who would like to share? What do you need more of?
Times probably. It seems like there's never enough time in the day. You do accomplish what you can,
Right.
and let's move forward. I mean, I don't waste a whole lot of time whining I don't have enough time, but it would be nice to have more time.
Mm-hmm. It would be. Seems like time does go by a lot faster nowadays than it used to. And I don't know if that's with the culture that we live in now, the busy, 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 always have to be moving or doing something. But it does. It seems like time is just flying by now. So
Yeah.
being able to actually find a moment to just slow down is very helpful as well. You know, again, going back to boundaries and knowing when to delegate. If it's just holding off on something sometimes for at least 5 minutes to give yourself a breather, that is absolutely needed. And it's absolutely something that you have the right to do because it's for yourself so that you can keep going. Anybody else want to add or share?
I wrote
What?
down I wrote down that I needed more understanding and compassion.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
focused on what I need or focusing on safety or not, taking it from the other person's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a great revelation to come to.
yeah.
Because that means that you're checking in with yourself and you're saying, what can I do differently or better? And being able to recognize that you need more compassion and understanding is a beautiful thing because that not only benefits you, but that also benefits the person that you're taking care of. Because at that point, you'll be able to give them, or at least have the space for them to be who they are in their moment. Even if it seems like it's a difficult moment, you're still giving them space when you have compassion that says, okay, these are your feelings. I'm going to give you the space to feel those, but I'm also going to be there to help you through it as well. Because it's a journey that you're taking together when you are a caregiver. You're not doing it alone. You're doing it with that person, even though they are the ones that you're taking care of, you're still doing it with them. And in the moment, it can seem very problematic or ruffle your feathers, so to speak. But when we have compassion, we're able to step outside of our own self and still be able to give to someone. Most of the times when we have compassion, it even lessens the resentment that we might have built up inside of ourselves, because you're saying, this doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a bad person because this person is having a bad time or a bad moment. You're able to see the situation for what it is instead of taking it personally. So I agree with that. Having compassion and learning what it is that you are dealing with is a huge thing.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
What is the number? What is that number referring to? The 220-238-1066.
That's my contact number.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. I got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
I missed that part. Okay. My screen is sort of has the pictures on one side,
Mhm.
and so the writing sort of gets a little
Oh,
muddled
cut
there.
off.
And even I'm turned sideways, and I don't know how to turn myself.
I noticed that.
I
And
see
I
you,
thought
Barbara.
I'll come in any way I can get in.
I love it. You're
I
here.
have no idea. So you have to
Okay.
have to let somebody had you as sideways participant. Humor is good, I tell
It
you.
is.
You
It
can you can
really
Mhm.
find
is.
it in the midst of stuff.
Yes, it is. All right. So the last one is just, how am I feeling today? And then on the page, if you have the page, it's just different facial expressions, emojis, as they call it. You have a big, huge grinning face, a straight line face,
Mhm.
upside down with a tear. How are you feeling today?
I feel tired.
Tired. Yeah. Yes. And I put this on this sheet because it makes you sit with yourself and say, what am I really feeling? A lot of the times as a caregiver, we're just going, and we forget to check in with ourselves to see how we're
Mhm.
actually feeling. Because when we ignore how we're feeling, we're not putting ourselves first. That's not self-care, to ignore how you're feeling within yourself. And it's not to say that you're doing it on purpose, which is why I put this here, because it actually stops your brain and makes you focus on what it's asking and how it applies to you. And that's what a lot of these questions in this book do. They make you stop and think and check in with yourself about how you're feeling, about how you process things, about how you're understanding what's going on around you, what's going on within you. And that helps to guide you to get you to a stabler spot where not only are you able to care for your loved one, but you're able to rekindle a new love for yourself in a more authentic way, in a way that's less resentful of yourself, because sometimes you will feel resentful against your own self, especially when you're neglecting, because you're basically pushing yourself to the back burner. And when you push yourself to the back burner, that's just neglect. And so you'll be feeling angry, you'll be feeling angsty, and you don't know why. And it's because you haven't filled your cup. You haven't went back within and said, hey, what do I need? What is beneficial for me right now? What can I do for myself?
Yeah, I think that's so, those are such great points, Tashonda. Tashonda, right?
Tashana.
Mm,
Yeah.
Tashana.
Mm.
Because, and another thing I know that I just was looking at your bio, and I think that that helps us to be resilient. And
Mhm.
I really, I wish we could talk about resiliency more because, that can be a lifeline. We can know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that we can bounce back,
Absolutely.
that we can be more fulfilled and we can go out and like you, even in your situation, you can start giving to others, even though you got all this other stuff going on. And that could be a part of your self-care too, is supporting others
Absolutely.
by being in a support group or what have you.
Yep.
Yeah. hmm I'd like to
Absolutely.
talk to you more about that. I'm not in your area,
Okay. Yeah,
but
you can, my email is listed on the screen. You can definitely shoot me an email. That resiliency is actually one of the chapters in this book. Let me
mhm,
just go over here this real quick. So in this book alone, there's several different chapters. If you guys can see that, I don't know where the camera is at. If it's going to blur it out, it did. So I'll just read it real quick. So of course, there's the introduction of what a guided journal is. And then after that, there's affirmations. There's a personal analysis in here where you take an analysis of your life. What are your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats to what you're trying to accomplish. There's a wellness section, daily routines, accountability, intention and reflection, self-care. There's a fill up your cup challenge. There's a chapter on emotional triggers, relationships and boundaries, childhood memories, the subconscious mind, visualization, gratitude, and then at the back there's mental health resources in the back of this book as well. Um, I believe the information for the support group might be in here. Let me see.
oh,
No, so for the support group, there is not. But my information is listed there so that I can give you the information for the support group. But there's also there's a mental health assessment in the back of this book, as well as what's called an ACE assessment. Has
mhm,
anyone ever heard of the ACE assessment?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. So there's the ACE assessment in here, as well as the website information so that you can look at your score for the ACE assessment, for the ACE test. So there's a lot of things in here. If you would like to purchase the book,
Yes.
shoot me an email and I will send you over the information on where to purchase it at.
I think they put it in the chat here.
I did put it in the
Yeah.
chat.
hmm
Oh, I can't find it.
It's caregiver
Okay,
under
yes, it is
caregiver,
linked here.
caregiver Oasis.
Oh, okay, let me see it. Let me see if I can get it.
I'm gonna copy that and put it in somewhere else.
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it.
Okay, good.
Okay, let me
I'm gonna
see.
see if I can pin it to the top. Nope, I can't. But yeah,
Okay.
it's down at the bottom. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see the link for the journal.
And I would
Oh,
like
okay.
to ask a question. What is the ACE assessment? I'm not familiar with that.
I'll put this in here and paste it.
Absolutely. So the ACE assessment is what it does is it takes in it asks you several questions to take into account the different traumas that you've had in your life. And it gives you a score to let you know if where you fall at, so to speak, so that you understand what it is that you need for yourself for self-care, and for your mental health.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. You're welcome. All right.
Mhm.
So any other questions?
Oh, this is good.
I just wish
I'm
that
glad you
we had
enjoyed
more
it.
time on this. We had more time in this care group and the support group. It's
Yeah,
like, at the like today was a day where we could really engage.
hmm,
And I just think that that's a wonderful. That's a great asset to have. Because we all different places, and it's good to hear from what's working for other people,
absolutely.
not where people are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I will be doing a guided journaling session. It's not specific to caregivers, Um,
Mhm.
but I am doing a guided journaling session on May the 25th,
Okay.
in person, as well as on June the 8th. And this one would be more geared towards emotional triggers. If you're interested in that,
Mhm.
I can, if you email me, I can send you the information for that as well if you're interested.
Okay. Where will that be? It's in person.
It is in person in Columbus.
Okay.
It will be at, have you heard of the Trolley Center? Not,
No,
it's
no.
well, it's not too far from Franklin Park.
Oh,
So I can
So
give you, if you
over
email me,
on
I can
Kelton
give you the
Avenue,
address
right?
for that. I'm sorry.
Is it Kelton Avenue where that old bus terminal
No, it's
thing used
on
to be?
Oak Street. Is it Oak?
yeah,
Yeah,
there is
I
an
believe
Oaks.
it's Oak.
okay.
There's a farmer's market on Oak Street.
If she's closer to the park, is it like the 1600 block or thereabouts?
It yes, it is a 1600 block. Yes.
Of
Okay,
Oak Street, of
Mhm.
Oak Street.
yeah,
Okay,
1632 Oak Street, I believe. That's
okay,
1636 Oak Street.
okay,
okay.
okay.
Mhm.
And what's the timing on the May 25th and June 28th?
So it would be from 11:30 to 12:45.
Okay. 12:40. And it's called the Trolley House. The tr-
It is
no,
called, it's the name of the building is actually called the Branch. It's a co-op office. Um,
okay,
yes, but it's called the Branch.
okay. Hold on.
Hmm.
Check my schedule.
Okay, there it is. The Branch co-working space.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any other questions before we close out today?
Um, no, thank you. This is your book is entitled Healing Path to True Authenticity.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's like 350 pages.
Yes, ma'am.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It really pushes you to do the work.
I
Okay.
have a question to Shauna.
Yeah.
For those of us who seem to have a mental block against journaling, it's something I have never been
Yes.
able to do consistently. I'll do it for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I just don't want to do the hard work of the self-examination, or, I mean, for me, it ends up being more a recitation of what I did that day or whatever, but not, especially early on when I was dealing with my husband's PTSD and dementia and all the feelings, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I,
Mm.
even then I just couldn't seem to write it down. And
Gotcha.
everyone keeps saying, do this to get it out. And I got past it. So, but I'm just wondering, everybody talks the virtues of journaling, and I
Yeah.
still can't seem to get into it. Can
So
you help me?
yeah, absolutely. That's what Gary say. So that's where this is a different type of journal. A lot of journals are filled with just blank pages that you could just write whatever. I
Mhm.
wish I could show the pictures or video recorded, but it's blurring it out for some reason. But each one of these pages is a question. So it's asking you introspective questions that allow you to go within and kind of guide you towards that process.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just free writing, which free writing, there's nothing wrong with that. I definitely find that very therapeutic. I have my moments just like you, Marsha, where I just don't know what to write and don't write anything at all because I'm just like, do I really feel like doing that? Which is why I created this journal, because I felt easier knowing that there was a question that was being asked of me rather than me trying to search within myself and figure out what it is I need to ask myself to write it down. This one does all that for you. So all you have to do is just write down an answer to the question. And sometimes the answer to that question might be very surface. And then you might find there are some days when you're answering questions on a deeper level. And that's what my hopes are with this journal, is that it helps guide you to those deeper feelings instead of just throwing you into it on your own.
Okay.
So all of these are crafted to make you go within. Whether or not if you ask yourself the question and sit with it for the day and then come back to it later, it just gives you something to think about, something to resonate with, and then figure it out, whether you're writing it down or you need a couple days to figure it out and write it down.
Okay, that's what I was wondering
Okay.
if you can come back to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
Hence
not,
the thickness of the book.
yeah. Yes, it can be overwhelming looking at the thickness of the book, but it's not something that you have to do on a daily basis. I would
Mhm.
say it is beneficial to do it on a daily basis, but you're going to have your moments when you don't want to do it, and that's fine. There's no
Mhm.
judgment for that. You know, when you're really feeling heavy on it, pick it up and do it, because that's when spirit is letting you know, hey, it's time to talk about something with yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
So listen to your body, stay in tune with your body, and do what feels best for you.
I'm gonna try it because I too have like at least 25 blank page journals that are sitting around here for different things.
Yeah.
And at night,
That's me.
3 o'clock in the morning, I don't know about you all, but I'm at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, things come to me. I wake up, I'm
Me
like, I should
too.
really write this down.
Yeah, me
know, I
too.
gotta find first, gotta turn on a light, I gotta find a
Fine.
pen, you know.
And they say usually within those hours between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning, that's really when spirit is speaking to you.
Oh my
So
God,
that's
loud and
beautiful
clear,
that you're able to wake up and do that. That means spirit,
Yes,
you're
yes,
able to respond to it.
blasting. Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I'm gonna get your book and I'm gonna try it. One more. There'll be another journal.
Okay.
Who was that,
Let me know how
Marsha?
that works out for you.
And Marsha,
Yeah.
let's try it together, girl. We're on this journey together.
All right.
Is is it at Barnes and Noble?
That is my next step, is to get it at Barnes and Noble. So
All
now it's on
right.
Amazon.
All right.
Yeah, I just saw
Yes.
you on Amazon.
Yes, just now, just
Okay.
on Amazon.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, oh yeah. Oh, it came up.
It came up good.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
As
girl,
soon
so
as
you're getting it.
yes. Oh, yes, there it is. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh,
I,
thank you.
yes, I'm so energized when a computer will work for me. Just blesses me. Oh my goodness. Okay.
That is great.
Oh, thank you. I
Thank
don't
you
know.
all so much.
I really don't know how I ended up getting with this group. I think I just punched in something.
Really?
And yeah, and so I don't know how, but I thought this is just wonderful.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. I
So
love it. I'm so
anyway,
glad you're here.
yeah, I appreciate what the Holy Spirit does on my
Yes.
behalf.
Right,
Yes.
and
Yes.
directing you and guiding you. I'm telling you.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yes.
my God, this has been a godsend. You just
Oh,
don't.
Oh
good, good, good,
yes.
good.
I'm not even in your area, but I'm
Where are
telling
you
you,
at?
I'm in Maryland. I'm in
You're in
Silver Spring.
Maryland.
And
Okay.
I found this through another person, and I was just like devastated. And she said, "You got to check out this support group." So I've been coming there every once a month. I wish y'all could have it more often,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
appreciate it. I
That's
appreciate the
beautiful.
fellowship and the support because it's been so helpful.
Oh, good, 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 good.
Oh
I'm so happy to
yes.
hear that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming and for participating. This, I would say, was a very lovely session, and that is due to you
Mhm.
guys. And I want to say thank you so very much.
Oh yes,
Oh,
and we
blessing.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Blessed, blessed, blessed. Okay. Now I'm going to try to get in here and get this.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is wonderful.
Hmm.
All
Okay.
right. Well, thank you all for coming. You have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your
Okay.
week. Okay.
All right, you as
You
Thank
well.
too.
you.
Okay.
Thank
Be
Be
you.
blessed.
blessed.
Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye. Control.